God bless you all. Apologies, got a little bit of a mix up going on here, but let's get started. Um, Again, thank you for joining us. My name is Manuel Miranda. I am with Love, Power, and Grace Church, located at 1455 Boston Road. Um, Pastors are Reverend Michael Lopez, our senior pastor. That's Reverend Michael Lopez, and Pastor Tabitha Lopez, and we have Reverend Sixto Francois, the associate pastor. We welcome you to our live stream today. I do apologize once again. There was a little bit of a mix-up trying to get everything put together, and I just forgot a couple of steps. My fault. But let's get started. Glad that everyone is with us today. Again, joining everyone. Glad that everyone is joining us. It's a great honor to be able to sit here before all of you and bring this awesome theme that we have for the month. The glory of God, to glorify God. That the theme of this month, leading up to obviously the cross, but to proclaim His glory. I think it's so important. I think it's so amazing. So again, I welcome all of you here to Love, Power, and Grace Church, located at 1455 Boston Road. Welcome you here to our live stream on Facebook and on YouTube. But I also welcome you to our website, lpgchurch.org. We are not live on it today, but we are usually live on Sunday. So if you are catching us on Facebook or you are occasionally catching us on YouTube, you can also catch us on Sundays directly on our website. Just wanted to put that out there because I think it's something that we're moving forward with. And the beauty of the website also is that if you feel that you need a prayer request and it's something that you want to do individually, where it's secure and you can go to our website as well and submit a prayer request. And, there will be a body of people that will be praying for you in whatever circumstance it is that you're dealing with or dealing with in your life. That's the beauty of that. So I wanted to put that out there, but I wanted to get started with today's lesson or today's chat. God's glory through science. I don't know if you noticed behind me, anyone that doesn't know me. I am a how you say I enjoy science. I am a geek, if you must. All of the stuff behind me is obviously science fiction. But I do enjoy science, and I'm also a quote unquote biblical geek. I love getting into the word. I love teaching the word because you learn as you teach. You teach and you learn, and that's the beautiful part of being a teacher. But I really want to get into today's chat. God's glory through science, and I wanted to share this video that I don't know, some of you might have already seen it, but if you haven't, I think it's amazing. I found this video just kind of going through social media, and it really captivated me, and I wanted to share it because this really does speak about the glory of the God that we serve. So just check this out.
All right, your question, where did God come from, assumes that you're thinking of the wrong, obviously it displays that you're thinking of the wrong God, because the God of the Bible is not affected by time, space, or matter. If he's affected by time, space, or matter, he's not God. Time, space, and matter is what we call a continuum. All of them have to come into existence at the same instant, because if there were matter but no space, where would you put it? If there were matter and space but no time, when would you put it? You cannot have time, space, or matter independently. They have to come into existence simultaneously. The Bible answers that in 10 words. In the beginning, there's time. God created the heaven, there's space, and the earth, there's matter. So you have time, space, matter, created a trinity of trinities there. Just, time is past, present, future. Space has length, width, height. Matter has solid, liquid, gas. You have a trinity of trinities created instantaneously, and the God who created them has to be outside of them. If he's limited by time, he's not God. The guy who created this computer is not in the computer. He's not running around in there changing the numbers on the screen, okay? The God who created this universe is outside of the universe. He's above it, beyond it, in it, through it. He's unaffected by it. So the concept that a spiritual force cannot have any effect on a material body, well then I guess you'd have to explain to me things like emotions and love and hatred and envy and jealousy and rationality. I mean, if your brain is just a random collection of chemicals that formed by chance over billions of years, how on earth can you trust your own reasoning processes and the thoughts that you think? Okay, so your question, where did God come from, is assuming a limited God, and that's your problem. The God that I worship is not limited by time, space, or matter. If I could fit the infinite God in my 3-pound brain, he would not be worth worshiping, that's for certain. So that's the God that I worship. Thank you.
Now, that is Dr. Kent Hovind, and he's obviously asked a question about where does God come from, and he does an awesome explanation about where God comes from, right? And he talks about the fact that, the trilogy of trilogies, God, he can't be in time and space and in matter. And he goes into the explanation of how the trilogy of trilogies created time in the beginning, right? He goes into Genesis, time, space, and matter, in the beginning, space and matter, which is the earth. And he goes on to explain how, liquid, solid, and he just it's such a beautiful way of explaining and glorifying God within his creation. The biggest thing that got to me is how he simplifies it to the point where he says, hey, the guy that created this computer isn't running around in this computer changing the numbers on the screen. So I'm going to further simplify it today, because everybody pretty much has a computer, but a lot of most of us have either a smartphone or a tablet or anything like that. And we have the father of the smartphone as we know it today, Steve Jobs, is not running around on your iPhone or your Samsung or whatever it is that you might have in your pocket, running around changing the screen, the numbers on your screen. And for those of you that don't know, obviously you look at your screen, you look pictures, you see things, but behind that, there's actually just rows of numbers, and it's ones and zeros. It's just ones and zeros that your computer, your phone, is basically reading and giving you an output, so that what you're looking at is what you're looking at. But behind the scenes, there are just a series of numbers. Now, again, God is not running around, being affected by time, space, and matter. He is the creator, and we have to acknowledge that. We have to glorify him in his creation, to be able to witness some of the things that we see, that we experience in life, in sight. It's just totally goes to glorifying to glorifying his omnipresence, to seeing how wonderful he is. I mean, I don't even know how to explain it. It's just, you can't quantify it. You can't put a number to it. That's why I love how he explained it. He said my 3-pound brain can't, he can't fit in my 3-pound brain. Like, you understand that? Like, we always try to put God in a box, but you can't put a number to him. You can't quantify him. You can't. And I think that's just wonderful how he went to explain that. But you know what? Let's go to what I like to call the source material, right? I always tell my students, as a teacher, I always tell my students, go to the source material. So let's open up our Bibles to the book of Psalms. let's go to the book of Psalms, chapter 96. Now, there is no defined author for this psalm. Some speculate that it was David, but it's unsure. It's unknown only because of the style of writing within the chapter itself. But it is a song of praise to God. So let's look at Psalm 96, and we're going to consider the whole chapter. Right, Psalm 96, a song of praise to God, coming in judgment. Okay, this is the crazy part. Okay, Psalm 96, in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Oh, sing to the Lord a new song. Sing to the Lord, all the earth. Sing to the Lord, bless his name. Proclaim the good news of his salvation from day to day. Declare his glory among the nations, his wonders among all peoples. For the Lord is great and greatly to be praised. He is to be feared above all gods. For all the gods of the peoples are idols. But the Lord made the heavens. Honor and majesty are before him. Strength and beauty are his sanctuary. Give to the Lord, O families of the peoples. Give to the Lord glory and strength. Give to the Lord the glory due his name. Bring an offering and come into his courts. O worship the Lord in the beauty of holiness. Tremble before him, all the earth. Say among the nations, the Lord reigns. The world also is firmly established. It shall not be moved. He shall judge the peoples righteously. Let the heavens rejoice and let the earth be glad. Let the sea roar and all its fullness. Let the field be joyful and all that is in it. Then all the trees of the woods will rejoice before the Lord, for he is coming to judge the earth. He shall judge the world with righteousness and the peoples with his truth. I mean, the author, the author here acknowledges the wondrous beauty of God, right? The awesomeness that is God. And he says, proclaim it to the nations. He's not only saying it, hey, just proclaim it to whom to your close circle, to your tight knit circle, quote unquote, the Jews, right? No. He's saying proclaim it to the nations. Scream it out from the rooftops. Speak of the wonder that he is. Give him his due glory because he is the creator of the heavens. He is the creator of the earth. He is our creator. I mean, going back to Dr. Hovind, he talks about our 3-pound brain. Now, he talks about the fact that our brain is literally just a mass of muscle that is basically encased in our skull, and it's liquid that encases it as well. But yet we have all these complex emotions and anger and fear and all of this. And how is that possible, considering the fact that modern science today believes that took millions and millions of years to develop? How is that possible when you know that you have a divine creator, someone who meticulously went to the extent of creating our bodies, creating us to whom we are, where we are? But I mean, that's just speaking about us. That's just speaking about us, right? But come on. I work overnight. As many of you know, I work overnight. And when that sun comes up, it's one of the most wondrous things in the world. But I can tell you, out of the 5+ years that I've been working overnight, I could never see one sunset that looks exactly the same as the previous sunset. Sunrise. He's such a wonderful artist, such a wonderful creator. I mean, it's astonishing to be able to look up at the sky and see how that works. I always joke around. And it's not even a joke, but I always tell my class how um meticulous he is, and how much of 1 centimeter. Think about 1 centimeter. I know that we here in the United States, we don't use the that measure of math, but can you imagine? Let's just put it into the imperial system, right? Let's put it into an inch. Can you imagine the Earth's axis 1 inch off of its axis? The chaos that would ensue. I mean, he is so divine to the last inch. He is so, I mean, meticulous to the very last inch. It's just simply amazing. Because again, you look at our solar system, and again, I talk about in identifying and glorifying him within science, because you know what? If you don't know, science originally was created or established to prove God's existence. Somewhere around the line or somewhere down the line, they decided that no, they're going to prove his non-existence, because you see, we're smarter than him and we know best. So science is here to prove the fact that God doesn't exist, right? So let's look at scientific discoveries. Let's look at where we sit today, third planet from the sun, right? But yet we're in this vast universe with 8, 9 other planets, depending on who you speak to, because the last planet, was they deemed it not a planet. Okay, but we're not gonna get into all of that. But think about where we sit in our solar system. Think about where we sit in the Milky Way. Think about how perfect it had to be, or the conditions have to be for us to be the third planet from the sun. Think about the functions of the other planets in our solar system. Think about the fact that Jupiter, the biggest planet in our solar system, serves as a shield for us. You understand that? If Jupiter wasn't there, who happens to share the same rotation around the sun as we do, right? Because Jupiter shares the same rotation around the sun that we do. It acts like a shield to us. So, I mean, think about it. If Jupiter wasn't there, and I'm sure you've all heard or seen these movies where, it's doomsday and a meteorite is coming to Earth and it's going to, and it's going to impact Earth and all of this stuff. But God is so great in his creation and how he protects us, even at our most vulnerable, because think about it. We're just this rock dangling in space, making our way around the sun in an ellipse for 365 days. And we have this huge protector that is out there doing the same ellipse. Maybe it doesn't take 365 days for it, because obviously it's a lot bigger and it's a lot further from the sun, but it's still following the same rotation plan that we are, but yet it's there and it protects us so that we don't have to worry about meteorites hitting us. I it just I'm sorry. I'm astonished. I can't figure out another way of how to glorify him within the same thing that was out there to or was established or is now trying to disprove his existence. Because the more they try to disprove, the more they prove his existence. It's simply amazing to me how beautiful, how wondrous he is, and how much we try to disprove, but yet we fail through what we think that is going to disprove, and we prove him further. He is the creator of the heavens. He is the creator of the earth. He exists outside of time, space, and matter. He's out there making sure that we, his creation, his most beautiful and prized creation, is well taken care of. He sent his son to us to sacrifice him for our sins. I was telling my class on Monday, I mean, it's just amazing how he came, fulfilled the law, and he is taking on my sins, current, past, and future, because he just loves me so much. And that's me individually. How many people are on this planet? Even though many of people turn their back on him and they say that he doesn't exist, and they look for so many different other avenues and say that God doesn't exist, God is dead, God is this, and it's just happenstance, and it was the Big Bang, and we evolved into whom we are today, and all these different schools of thought to try to disprove God and disprove who he is, and how he created us meticulously in love. It just, again, we continue to glorify, and it's our job, just like whomever it was that specifically sat down and penned Psalm 96, to go out and say, this is God. This is whom I glorify. This is the God I serve. I am going to continue to glorify him because I can point to him. I can point out who he is and what he's done. I can point out the creation that he has given us. I can point out the fact that he moves the sun, moon, and stars. I can point out the fact that his rotation of the moon controls the oceans, that allows us not to drown. Right? Because, I mean, let's think about it. There's more water on this rock than there is land. Again, science. There is more water on Earth than there is land. And he controls the movement of the ocean so that there's not water that comes and obviously takes over the land. He only did that once, and he swore he would never do it again. Swore he would never do it again. And he gave us our covenant, the rainbow. And he told us that he would no longer do that again. Amazing. I always ask, and I continue to bring up my classes, because I always try to teach, or ask them rather, how they would go up against someone that is either asking a question or is trying to disprove what they're saying. And I like to have them engage so that they can basically go out and say, hey, Mr. I don't believe in God, Mr. Atheist, Mr. God is dead. I can prove to you that God exists. I'm going to glorify, I'm going to shout from the heavens and give him glory. I'm going to sing his praises. And I'm going to show you exactly how it is that he exists. I mentioned the Big Bang Theory, right? And for those of you that don't know what the Big Bang Theory is, I'm sure, and I'm not talking about the show on, I think it was CBS, right? Which has a little bit to do with that, with the theory of the Big Bang. Now, for many, many years, scientists believed that nothing blew up and became something. In other words, there was nothingness in space, just vast nothingness. And out of nowhere, an explosion. And the cosmos, the universe, the world, us, came into existence. Just like that. Because of the cosmic explosion. They equate it to what a supernova would be. Okay, a supernova would be something like a star blowing up. Now, if we know a star is, gases burning in space, and when they do explode, they consider that the force is what they would call a supernova. This is why you have a lot of scientists that also believe that the sun will eventually get to that point. But we're not going to go into that. That's another theory for another day, right? But think about it. They say that there was nothing, and then out of nothing came something. Now, we know that there's laws that, and these are laws of physics, that really prohibit that from happening. Again, science kind of at this point is at a crossroads. Is it yes? Is it no? But then biblically, we know that God spoke everything into existence. Because if we go back to the book of Genesis, we know that God, with his word, created everything. We don't have to go through every single one of the details. We know that. We are very familiar with the book of Genesis, right? At least we should be, because that's the beginning of when God, and when he created everything, and everything was good. And everything was good in his eyes. Everything was good. And then he meticulously sewed us together, and he put us together. He breathed his love into our nostrils, and here we are. Now, going back to Genesis and going back to creation and going back to the Big Bang Theory, right? Can you believe that the Bible proves the Big Bang Theory to be right? How? How's that possible? How? Because how nothingness into something, it's physically impossible. Right. It's physically impossible, but nothing is impossible for God. And God spoke everything into existence. In other words, the Big Bang Theory, or the Big Bang, is God speaking everything into existence. Have you noticed that they stopped talking about the Big Bang Theory now? They've moved kind of away from the Big Bang Theory, because quantum physicists have said, whoa, hold on. That makes sense. That kind of makes sense. God speaking everything into existence, Big Bang Theory, his voice making everything as we know it now. So quantum physics has kind of proven the fact that, yeah, the Big Bang Theory happened, but it was because God made it happen, because there's nothing impossible for God. We got to continue to glorify him. We got to continue to look at his creation, to look at the things, the gifts that he has given us, this earth, the beauty, the majesty. I don't know if anybody has ever taken a road trip and has just observed, whether you're driving or you're a passenger, and you've just observed the scenery, the sky, on how it meets the earth, and the mountains, the earth, the grass, the foliage, the mountains. I mean, how beautiful, how everything just coexists, and it just is this beautiful dance, this beautiful thing that God has given us so that we can live a fruitful life on this gift that he has given us. I mean, we had gone to Pennsylvania. Um I think it was last summer. And we went to this little town in Pennsylvania. The name escapes me. He was a very famous Olympian, Native American Olympian. The name escapes me. But he won a lot of medals and very several different events. And this town is named for him. When we took a tour of the town, this was also a mining town, and within this town, they take you on this bus and you start going into the mining area, into the mountains of this town, and you just start seeing how at this point it wasn't the summer. As a matter of fact, it was towards the end of the summer, beginning of the fall, and you start seeing the foliage begin to change, and it's so beautiful to see, like the different colors, the green versus the orange versus the red versus, and it's like you just fall in love more and more with God when you see that, because only he created that. Only he could do that. There's nothing impossible for him. So we got to continue to glorify him. I can't, I mean, I could be here for days talking about science and how science glorifies him, even though they try to take, not to glorify him. They try to disprove him. They try to say that he doesn't exist with science. But the further and further, and again, I just continue to reiterate. I continue to reiterate and reiterate the fact that, yeah, there's nothing that you can say. There's nothing that you can do that's going to disprove him, because it's going to continue to prove his existence. So I glorify God within science. I glorify him within every single study that is out there right now that is trying to disprove his existence, because in the bottom, at the end of it, you're going to prove that he exists. Bottom line. So let's stand up. Let's continue to proclaim his existence. Let's continue to say how wonderful he is. In the midst of the good, in the midst of the bad, God is great. God is awesome. God is beautiful. God is everything. Let's glorify him. Let's continue to glorify him. So I stand up today and I glorify him through science. I glorify him through the studies that have been done. It's funny because, and with this I begin to close, Chris Dotsey, Brother Dotsey, studying to be a neurosurgeon. He's studying the brain, the intricacies of the brain. But within his studies, he has to have a knowledge of the human body. And a few months ago, I believe, or the last time that he visited, we were talking about something, and it was during Sunday school, and I had brought up the point that, and I had asked him, because I didn't want to speak out of turn, right? I had asked him, I said, hey, can you verify this for me? To this day, doctors, modern science, do not fully understand the human stomach. Right? To this day, we still do not understand the intricacies of our own stomachs. We know that it's a muscle that that obviously gives us the nutrients that we need, that we need rather. It's a sack full of stomach acid or acid, and it dissolves food. And but how is it that that can do all the things that it does? It can tell all the foods that you might be allergic to. It can tell and react to different foods in different ways. How is that possible? But yet science to this day still can't point out how. I mean, I can tell you who knows. Our creator, God, because he made us. He knows exactly. He knows exactly every single piece, every single strand, everything, how it's supposed to work within us. So, brothers and sisters, anyone that's visiting for the first time here on YouTube and or on Facebook, I just want for you to really understand that we glorify God because he is not dead. He is alive. He is well. He has given us this life. He is with us. He is all around us. And he is trying to lead us into righteousness. And he is trying to put us and take us back home with him. Bottom line, believe it or not. Believe it or not. So I glorify God and I thank him for all the wondrous gifts that he has given us. I thank him for this shell that I have that is a temporary vessel. And I thank him for how he intricately built it. And I thank him and glorify him in the good, in the ailments, in my strengths, in my downfalls, when I feel weak, when I'm keeled over in my bed in pain, when I can't take it anymore, when I'm stuffing my face full of painkillers, when I'm jumping up and down in the temple when I possibly can to glorify him, when I'm walking around in his spirit, when I'm sharing the good news wherever it is that I can share the good news, I glorify him. I glorify him because nothing is impossible for God. And with this, I want to close because again, within the good and the bad, we should glorify God. I want to close with the book of Job, chapter 42. And we're going to consider verses 1 through 6. This is Job speaking to God, right? After this whole conversation as he's had with God in the bad, everything that he transpired, everything that has gone on in his life, good and bad, this is Job. Job's repentance and restoration. That's the title. Then Job answered the Lord and said, I know that you can do everything. Again, I want to repeat that. I know that you can do everything and that no purpose of yours can be withheld from you. You asked, who is this who hides counsel without knowledge? Therefore, I have uttered what I did not understand. Things too wonderful for me, which I do not know. Listen, please. This is him telling God, hold on. Give me a second, because you're letting me talk. Listen, please, and let me speak. You said, I will question you, and you shall answer me. Right? Have full-fledged conversation with God. He said, "Hey, hold on. Listen, let me get my thought out to you, and you're gonna answer me because I know you are, because nothing can stop you. I have heard of you by hearing of the ear, but now My eye sees you. Therefore, I abhor myself and repent in dust and ashes. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, Job at this point says, man, I've heard of you, but now I see you. Now I witness you. And this is a beautiful thing. Sometimes we hear of him, but we don't witness him. But yet there's so much out there in this world to witness of him. Let's proclaim him. Let's glorify him, because there's nothing that is impossible for God. And with that, I close. I hope that these words, reach someone, that they understand the beauty that is God and how we need to continue to glorify him. Take the words of Psalm 96 and shout it from the ceilings, shout it from the rooftops, glorify God, but acknowledge to God that he is wonderful. Praise him. Let's not only hear about him, let's experience his beauty, his wondrous love for us. Thank you so much for lending me these few minutes to speak to you on the glory through science of God. Again, for those of you within the church, I don't have any announcements, rather than we have our service on Friday from the temple at 7:30. Oh, 7:30. Yes, from the temple on Friday, and as well we have Bible school on Sunday, 10 a.m. Oh, excuse me. I believe the baptisms are on Saturday. Yes, if I do remember correctly, and I will probably be corrected if I am mistaken, but I believe the baptisms are on Saturday. So let's go out and support our baptists on Saturday, and then on Sunday we do have Bible school at 10 a.m. and our service at 11:45. God bless you all. God keep you. Until next time, have a great one. God bless you all.